Hello everyone. This is probably my third English speaking video, and I had some requests for an English speaking video. That is why I am making one. So these are my hamsters. I just cleaned the cages. So for bedding I use these are newspaper papers. I mean, they're the same as newspapers, except there's no printing on them. And I use tissue paper. It's very simple, but I think it's enough for the hamsters. I get a lot of comments about having better bedding for my hamsters, except my hamsters are allergic to wood chips, so that is one reason I can't use them. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna give them a very early dinner, and I am giving them, this is naminori joni. It's a very condensed, it says here noko, very I don't know. I don't know the English for it, but it's very rich. Yes, it's a very rich tofu, very condensed, very healthy. And everyone has come. And this is one reason I get a lot of comments about how small my cages are. But because I only show this part of the cage where I feed them. This is the dining room. This is the sleeping area. This is the two playrooms that they have. And I do admit that the depth of the cages are kind of small, but this is a cage that was very popular probably like 20 to 10 years ago in Japan. It's called Sanko. Sanko is a very famous pet company in Japan, and they made this cage that is very simple. I know that this type of kanami, I don't know what they call it, steel cages are kind of outdated, but they're very, very popular like 10-20 years ago, and I still use them because I know people say there are safety issues, but I've never had any safety issues, and the hamsters like to climb on these little jungle gymmy things. And also it's very plastic box cages, they get very steamy inside, but these, the wind, it's very drafty in a good way. Anyway, enough talking, more eating. Let's go. Okay, this is naminori joni, condensed tofu. And one reason I use this old cage is because I can connect these cages, and they don't make that type of cage anymore. Oi, everyone, it's in the back. The tofu is behind you. Go behind. Luna here has found that the larger tofu is outside. She is very clever. All my hamsters have names. This is Azusa. This is Michiru. This is Luna. This is a new baby hamster, and she is called Mami. Not like mommy, but Mami. Mami-chan. That's a kind of sweet condensed milk in Japan. It's a very cute name. And this is Kei. This is Anne, this ivory color. This is Ami, and this is Shoko. I'm sure you can't see because the focus goes to my finger. And this little girl here is Maya. Now, okay, I'm gonna close the door because they try to keep coming out. I had many more hamsters only like half a year ago. I probably had like 15 to 18 hamsters in this one cage like half a year ago. But one thing I want to share is that all my hamsters come from two families, and both of those families were born early 2 years ago, so 2018. So it's a very sad thing, but my hamsters are going through a generation change, and the older hamsters have been passing away this year, and that is why I have to change generations. This is the oldest hamster here. He is called Eddie, and all his siblings have passed away these past few months. He is 2 years, 4 months old. And I have a little baby boy back there living with Eddie. Eddie is a boy that can't, he's not a communal hamster. He can't live with other hamsters. He fights. He likes to live solitarily. This is Ma-kun. He's a sibling of that little girl I showed. Where is she? Okay, there she is. So one big question there is about hamsters is whether they are solitary or whether they are communal. And the answer to that is, well, it depends. It depends, but my theory is that hamsters could have been solitary in the wild. You see, because they live in the desert, and you need a lot of territory in the desert because there's not much resources, and food. So you need to mark your territory, or else other hamsters are gonna take that little source of resource in that wild field of desert. And I understand that. But one thing I feel there's a possibility of is that they could have been communal in a family basis. So they all lived in little ant holes, right? And probably they were communal when they were a family until they grew up. And that kind of instinct is still in them. And another theory, or a theory that overlaps with that, is that hamsters have been domesticated, and they were used as experimental animals by humans for probably like a century, more than a century really. And like dogs, I think their nature changed, or is changeable. So they rely on humans to live, so they don't have to have the territorial need to, you know, mark their territory. I know I'm being kind of I'm saying the same thing over and over, but anyway, let's see little Ma-kun. See, they like to climb the steel cages. What was I saying? So yeah, one thing is that they could have the instinct to be communal through a family community in the desert. And another is that they have the potential to be domesticated and have this new nature of communal behavior, because they don't have to follow those territorial instincts anymore. And so they have a new possibility as pets. And this is very important, if you keep your hamster solitary from when they are little to probably like 3 months old, when they become like adults, they can conceive, and they have I don't know, they grow up. Then it's very hard to make them communal anymore. But if you leave them, this is kind of out of joshiki, out of the common notion of things. But if you leave them together as they grow older with their mother, with their children, and then after that with their aunts and uncles, their grandmothers and grandfathers, they kind of skip that territorial instinct. They don't have to have it. They're pets. I mean, they're not 野生動物ってどうやって言うんだろう。They're not wild animals anymore. So they can live peacefully. There's no need to be territorial. And I think that's where the communal part of them kicks in. And they're very, very peaceful animals. And the notion that they want to be solitary, I think, is completely false. Some like Eddie over here like to be, but I think that's because he's a very bossy, not like bossy like they're mean. He's a very strong hamster. He's alpha male. But most hamsters, they thrive on communal living. See, look at these three. It's a very hot evening here in Tokyo, but they still want to snuggle together, to sleep or to just relax. They're not even sleeping. They just like to be together. I don't know. Can't you tell? I mean, there's so much space here. I know it doesn't seem that spacey in a video, but I think I mentioned somewhere that this is around 170 centimeters. I don't know what that is in inches long. That's like my height. Pretty long. Yuri-chan. This is Yuri. I don't think I introduced her. And I have, since my generation, this generation of all the 2018 hamsters are kind of passing away, I have two pregnant hamsters, or hopefully pregnant, so that the new generation can come. And that is one more proof that is really the one real evidence I can show about hamsters being communal, that my hamsters live 2 years or more together with their mothers, their aunts, their grandfathers. No, actually, I separate the males and females, so only the males or females. But as a family, they live their life all together. And I don't know how much more proof I need about hamsters being communal. This is Anne over here. She is the leftover oldies. She's pretty old. This is the new girl. They're related. Her daddy and her daddy were brothers. Well, that's all I really have to say. They didn't eat much of the naninori joni, did they? I guess it was too early for dinner. I usually give them dinner like around 8. It's probably like 6 right now. Okay. Bye bye. Look at this hamster manju. Manju? What is English for manju? It's like, I don't know. Rice ball. Rice ball could be okay. Okay, I want to end this video by showing this little rice ball hamster. 3 rice ball hamsters. Bye bye. Thank you for watching this long video. Kind of preachy, but I just wanted to share. Bye bye.